Yo, everybody. Welcome to Off Panel, a weekly interview podcast about all things comics, brought to you by Sketch.com. I'm your host, David Harper, and today's guest is the guy who runs things at Big Bang Comics, a glorious comic shop in Dublin, Ireland. It's John Hendrick. Thanks for coming on, John.
Well, it's not like I had anything else going on.
Oh, I know. You have so much free time now, John. It's incredible. Not ideal, but you don't have free time. Now what okay, before we get into anything, set the stage. Okay. What's going on at Big Bang right now?
So
this goes up on Wednesday.
That's okay. New comic book day. So we are closed to the public. You can click and collect. I can never say that. You can click and collect and like do like curbside and stuff like that. And yes, we are shipping out comics and books and whatever the hell else you need that we can physically sell. I don't know, I might sell toilet paper soon at this stage, but yeah, so we are technically still running, but we are not open to the public, and that sucks, but there are very valid reasons why we are not open to the public. I don't know if you heard.
I've heard that there is a bit of a thing going. I've been meditating in the woods for the past 14 days, and I just heard that there was something going on. It was new to me. That was a Jared Leto joke. Jared Leto was meditating in the desert, and it's ridiculous. Anyways, I think that's the second time this week I've brought it up just because it's so ridiculous. But, okay, let me set the stage now. Today, John and I are going to be talking about two things: the coronavirus and its impact on comics retail, and how comic fans can help comic shops. How comic fans can help comic shops is coming at the end. And we're going to start with the first subject. And as a note, again, we're recording this on Tuesday, March 24th, midday Alaska time. So if something drastic changes between now and then, like Marvel and DC decide to go pure digital, or I don't know, like something worse happens, because it seems to happen these days.
Every day it changes.
Yeah, if we didn't cover it, it's that for that reason. So setting the stage again, Diamond Comic Distributors, as of now, is no longer accepting shipments of comics starting April 1st. So today, when this runs, is literally the last new comic book day for who knows how long. Marvel
for the Americans.
For the Americans. Are you still getting comics?
No. So my order was ready to leave. I actually got my invoice. I was about to put it up on the system, and the general manager of Diamond UK picked up the phone and phoned me, and he said, "I cannot let this leave."
So you're not getting comics?
No, we're done.
Okay.
New release.
Well, never mind. For everybody in America, that is the case. For John and for anybody who ships through Diamond UK, that is not the case. Marvel offered shops a deeper than usual discount, but no returnability. So for a lot of people, that means thanks for nothing. DC has offered nothing, at least nothing public, because they have shelled up and said nothing. Image, Boom, Dynamite, and others offered returnability, while some other houses like Vault proactively bumped their lines down the schedule a bit. But one way or another, comics are on hold. So, John, John, you're a man with a lot of thoughts. We've talked about some of those thoughts before this. Congratulations. Yeah. I have now made you king of comics. I want to know, how would you have handled this? What would have been the better solution for comic shop owners like yourself?
First of all, when I talk about this, I'm going to talk about this in the magical kingdom where in the US it's quite different, because each state is basically like a different country, so it's so hard to like keep track,
especially Alaska.
Well, technically I don't even really think you're American, but anyway. So that is a really hard question, but so I went to Comics Pro in Portland, and that was a month ago, and it literally seems like years ago. Every single deal, every single plan, every single good thing that came out of that. And I came back to Portland and I spoke to you, and I was really, really excited. The coronavirus was on our minds, but this has literally taken a hold of our industry so fast. And I think it just shows how fragile the comic book industry actually is. We are in, like, this is like a once in a century thing. This is like the Spanish flu, and the Great Depression all in one go. And we are in this weird kind of very early stages, because this is not going away. And it's not going to go away in 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 4 weeks. Officially, Diamond are saying, yeah, 30 days. Nobody knows that. I personally think that we're not going to see new deliveries till June. That's when I think we're going to see new comic books actually come out.
Right.
I mean, today, David, I finished my initial order for May. And I was like halfway through it going, what is the point of me doing this? So if I was the king of comics, how would I have handled this? I would have paused production faster. I would have turned around and I would have said, okay, we are going to structure our release schedule. We are only going to release things or plan to release things that are necessary to our lines. So that means we're not going to release tie-ins. We're not going to release miniseries. We're not going to release variant covers. We are going to consolidate and we are going to make your life as easy as possible by giving you the best product that we can give you, but in smaller doses. We want what we have in production to mean something. We want, if we don't know when your next delivery is going to be, we want to be able to give you something that is going to sell and sell for, instead of your usual Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday window, sell for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the first thing I would have done. I would have turned around then and I would have put in procedures in place if I was the distributor to say, okay, we've got 2 distribution centers. One is going to focus on new product. One is going to focus on old product. And if we have to do that offsite and whatever, just to keep reorders going, because reorders, I know they're saying that reorders are going to go, but reorders are not going to go. All of my reorders are currently sitting on a pallet in Warrington in the UK. Like, and I'm like, when am I getting these? And they're like, don't know.
Right.
You know, now they're not that blasé. And I will say Diamond UK have been super cool about this. And the majority of staff now are working from home and they've all given me their home phone numbers. So I'm going to have so much fun at 4 o'clock in the morning from now on. I would have done that. The other thing is that this is a hard thing to explain. I have never worked harder in this business when I've not been in work than the last 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Because literally I've been on the phone every single day to Image. I have gotten emails from Boom. I've been on the phone and emails from IDW, Vault, everyone. They're like checking in. And they're asking people like me the proper questions. Okay.
So what are the proper questions?
The proper questions right now is how can we help, and how these publishers can help is literally they need to do the company that came out with the best plan and the most forward thinking plan and the right plan at the very beginning was Image. If every company had have done what Image Comics did and said that they were going to do, the direct market would have been a lot more self-assured. We have had radio silence from an awful lot of people. I mean, Dynamite were like, fuck it. If can I curse in this one? I can't remember.
Go ahead. At this point, why not?
Dynamite were like, fuck it. If you got our books and Diamond don't accept these returns, strip the covers and mail them to us. Tell us who you are. Like, that's commitment.
Yeah.
We don't forget that. They want us to sell their books. We want to sell their books, right? But we can only sell their books if we're getting their books. And I mean, like, I was fully expecting a delivery this week. I had my guys on standby because I was like, I don't really know when it's coming in. I'm waiting on a phone call. And last night, Mike took the time to phone me and just go, I can't let it out. Now, I knew.
Is that your Diamond UK guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll hate that I'm calling him like just Mike on this. But anyway, he's the guy in charge of Diamond UK. And I've been speaking to him pretty much every 2-3 days for the last while. Now, me and him have a very long storied history of arguing with each other over certain things, but we do have a good relationship. And once I saw that Forbidden Planet and Forbidden Planet International, which is a completely separate company, and there's a good podcast. You should actually investigate that about why they're 2 separate companies. And then other retailers in the UK went down.
Is that Rob?
Rob is FP.
Yeah, okay.
He'll fucking hate that we said his name on this as well.
We didn't say his last name.
No, he'll still hate it, but because he likes to sit in his office. Um, so when they went down and when FPI went down, they're Diamond UK's two biggest customers, and I knew that there was no way that and it made sense. There was no way that they were going to release my products to me in Ireland and maybe one of like four retailers in the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland that had comics and nobody else had. I knew it. And then Boris Johnson goes on TV last night and whatever. But I knew the writing was on the wall then. He took the time to phone me. We've had a lot of conversations over what the right course of action for both ourselves and Diamond UK are over this period. But if I was the king of comics, I would have copied what Eric Stevenson did. And that's a problem with comics. There's a lot of fucking hubris in comics.
Yeah, nobody wants
Lots
to
of
copy
people don't
anybody.
like people. No, and nobody wants to copy Eric Stevenson, right?
No.
Yeah, because but the fact of the matter is that 9 times out of 10 and shit like this, Eric's got the direct markets backed. He really does, right? So Eric did this, and then other people did stuff. The problem is that the trifecta of leadership in our industry is, let's call it what it is: Steve Jeppy Family Enterprises, right?
For Diamond.
A lot of people give Steve Jeppy a lot of shit. I don't give Steve Jeppy a lot of shit. Steve Jeppy fell in this situation accidentally, right? And Steve Jeppy, I don't know if you've ever seen him speak or whatever. He really fucking likes comic books. Like, I got a lot of time for him, but and I think he's a good businessman as well. But he accidentally fell into this whole fucking Diamond fucking monopoly thing going on because of Marvel back in the what was it, Heroes World?
Heroes World, yeah, the distributor war.
Yeah. The distributor wars.
So dramatic.
Stop. I mean, but he fell into this like situation. Could we have done with better leadership from Diamond in the last few days? Absolutely. However, as you just said in the intro, and you're like, we are recording this at noon Alaska time on this date, the situation changed daily, right? Now, I got emails from Diamond US that I will shit you not. I thought that it was like a fucking intern with really bad Photoshop was sending out emails on behalf of Diamond. I was like, this can't be real. This can't be a Diamond response. Fact is that we don't still really have a Diamond response. There isn't a real one. Not really.
Besides, they're not shipping comics.
Well, that happened after the fact. I think that they were probably working on their response. And then all of a sudden it's like, do you know what? We can't ship out. If stores are closed, we can't ship out. We can't, if we're not shipping out, our warehouses are full. This is a very fair weather industry. Like, there's a lot of retailers that are going literally Wednesday to Wednesday to pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
And if all of a sudden all the retailers are like, no, we're closed, there's a shelter in place order, our state shut down, we're on lockdown, we can't take in deliveries. All of a sudden that warehouse space backs up. And Diamond, for the first time ever, didn't have a fucking clue what to do. So what they did was they said, we're not taking any more new product. In the meantime, as far as I can tell, every single printer bar Transcom is shut down. Now, me being me, I went to Transcom's fucking website today to see if they were still in business. And it looks as though they are. However, Transcom publish, I think, DCs. I can't even remember at this stage. But so all the printers, so printing has stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Printing of 90% of the direct market or 60% or whatever the direct market stopped. Okay. Then we got to look at Marvel, right? Marvel are a really, 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 really small company when it comes to the Walt Disney family of companies. And probably Walt Disney and its family of companies. I know that film and TV is going through its own tough time with coronavirus as is. But what we have given the Walt Disney Company or whatever is probably, I mean, I would argue that it's probably a bigger franchise now than Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the MCU. And there's like a very small team that actually keeps that going. And that's like, CB and Dan and all those people. But Marvel turned around to us and they said, hey, everybody, here's our care package to you, our trusted partners. And what it is that we are going to protect this quarter's sales
Mm-hmm.
over you. And all these comic books that you've
Really
already,
quick, really quick.
yeah,
For
yeah,
listeners that don't know, instead of
yeah,
offering return to build or anything like that, they offered, what was it, 65 to 75% deep discount on inventory.
which is only if you're a Diamond US customer, by the way, I will add that.
Oh yeah,
That
so
doesn't pass along to me as a
not
Diamond
John
UK
people get
customer.
it.
Yeah, but yeah, so they offered like much bigger discounts on product that we'd already ordered. That actually was going to even retroactively apply to product that we'd already received last week. So we were all going to technically get like recouped and then cheaper Marvel product. But if we're all closed and we can't actually accept the product, not only that, if your state is on lockdown or your country's on lockdown or your city's on lockdown, people can't leave their fucking house to go and pick up the latest Jonathan Hickman X-Men. It was pointless.
Right.
The whole thing was pointless, right? So that's the second leader of our industry. And then we need to go to the third. Now, this is the most disappointing thing of all because the fact of the matter is that the sales team, the marketing team, and the actual team at DC Comics, they're all really good people. Um, DC checked in with me on Monday to see what the situation was and
Like
to see how things
yesterday
were
or
going.
last week?
No, last Monday.
Okay.
And I said, things are really scary at the moment. Things are this, things are that. Like, we don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on, but we're waiting to hear from you. And I was told, don't worry. We're working on something and it will be announced soon. So I said, okay, that was Monday. Tuesday came, Wednesday came. Wednesday, I get an email. How's your Wednesday? And I went, actually, do you know what? It was pretty shit. And it's pretty shit because of this massive worldwide event that's crippling our industry. And you are the number two publisher. And there's already been a public statement from the number three publisher that was an open call to all the publishers. And we haven't heard anything from you. And I said, to be quite honest, if I was like a super fucking conspiracy nut, I would think that this could possibly suit the number one and number two publisher.
You say
But I'm not a
suit?
conspiracy.
Like it fits
Yeah,
them?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Right. Now, I would really appreciate to hear from you soon. And I got a really lovely personal email from that person at DC who I'm not going to name because that would be unfair. Um, and a really lovely personal email. I kind of, even when I was reading it, I felt guilty because I was like, oh shit, I was really harsh there. You know, they're going to announce something. They're going to do something. Well, so far they've announced jack shit. Now, I do know for a fact through people that I know that a lot of the sales team are like dying to. Dave, you keep coughing. Do you have coronavirus?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All
I've been sick for like a month, and I'm just.
right.
It's been really exciting to go through a global pandemic while having what I've been told is a viral infection of my lungs with all the symptoms of the coronavirus. But if I talk or if I'm really active, it makes me cough. But if I do nothing, I'm fine. So, anyways,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. But
lovely email.
yeah, I got a lovely email from that person at DC, and I felt really guilty about how harsh my email was, but now I don't, because I do know a lot of people at the sales team at DC, like enough to like sit down and have a cup of coffee with, straight after Dan Didio got the boot, and they sat down and explained the situation to somebody else from another publisher. And I was like, "Do you want me to leave?" And they're like, "No." So you know, they know that I wouldn't betray their trust with that whole thing, but. I know for a fact that Jim Lee went to bat for absolutely all of us in the direct market. And I know that every time that DC thought that they had something prepared, they would send it up the chain to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers would send it down up to AT&T, and AT&T would just sit on it. The fact of the matter is that DC Comics is just like a marketing budget for another project that AT&T have. And I do believe that there are probably people at both Marvel and DC that are probably like, okay, we can use this to our advantage.
In what sense?
Because now we don't. Well, the direct market is decimated.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that Marvel and DC are going to go digital first as of next week. That is my personal opinion.
Is that just an opinion, or is that like an opinion with?
Yeah, it's an opinion with like, like
things.
Well, I don't know this for
No,
depth.
no, but you know enough about how things work that you can read the tea leaves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do think that, and I do think probably if absolutely anybody else, um, other than the current person in charge of DC Comics, and I'm not talking about Jim Lee here. If anyone else, I think that we would probably have had more of a quicker response.
Hmm.
But right now we've got nothing. I also, as far as I know, think that DC we're dealing with outdated numbers when it came to the direct market and about closures. Um, but again, I don't know that for a fact. There's a couple of ways to look at this. If you ring up Diamond and go, my store is closed, put everything on stop, then Diamond are going to say, right, you're on stop, you're in an inactive account. If you're only looking at the inactive account numbers, it's probably very few because in the apocalypse, you're not going to cancel your cable. You're not going to think, because you know what? If your comic books can't get delivered because UPS is down, you're not going to think about ringing up Diamond and go, oh, listen, by the way, officially put me on this list. And I would bet you 99% that was a list that was being used by publishers.
Hmm.
Now, in the fucking meantime, I started my own incredibly depressing project. Yeah.
Oh.
Which was I took all the states um, that had shelter in place orders or that were shut down. I also then asked a question in a couple of retailer groups, who was shut down, how many locations. And I did my best to fill in this map, but it became too much too fast. Um, I would reckon as of right now, I would say 60% of the direct market is shut.
Hmm.
And you have to remember that this is 3,000 people who turn their hobby into their living. We don't have massive cash reserves just like waiting, sitting around for this. So many people are week to week that I think with 60% of the direct market down, the industry is completely, we're dead in the water.
Right.
Like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Image, Boom, Dynamite, IDW, Vault, Archie emailed me. Archie fucking Comics emailed me and said, here's what we're fucking doing. And I read it and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what we need. But not one person from Marvel or DC can actually email me and say, here's what we're doing. Because we don't need cheap books that we can't sell and we don't need nothing. And currently that's what we've gotten, right? I know a lot of people are looking at, are we going to get bailed out? Is Steve Jeffy going to put his hand in his pocket? Honestly, that's his fucking money. We can't rely on Diamond Comics to just bail us out. But I think it has absolutely opened up a discussion that we can't also rely on just Diamond Comics.
Right.
I think that we need to absolutely start the discussion that if the book trade is still distributing from certain publishers and certain warehouses, why isn't the comic book industry? And I don't know if that means Steve Jeffy needs to diversify his warehouse structure or his distribution structure. I don't know if he has the money to do that. I don't even know if the direct market is worth it right now. But I do think that currently, as is, we are in a very, 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 very weird situation where how long can the direct market hold out for? Can we hold out till May or June? Our book's going to come out in June. Like, when the books do eventually come out, how many retailers are still going to be left to actually sell them?
Right.
And this has just proven that, like, we are a very, very, very small industry that one thing, and I know you can say sports is shut down, TV's shut down, movies are shut down. Those are much bigger industries.
Right, and they're easier to sustain. I mean, basically, it's,
Easier to
it's when sports
sustain.
comes back, they just like flip the switch and they start playing again. Basically, I mean, in sports, like you can like look at, I think Korea, their basketball league is going to start playing at the end of this month with no audiences, so they can get it going again in controlled situations. The problem is like there's no controlled situation for the direct market. You need people in the door and product in the door.
Yeah, yeah. Diamond need us as much as we need Diamond.
That's okay. So I want to get on that. So
So
do
yeah,
you mind if we jump on that real quick?
excuse me, you're making me cough, and now I'm paranoid that I'm getting coronavirus.
Oh
Something
no,
weird. But
the
anyway,
Skype is carrying it over. It's unbelievable. We're gonna have to tell the CDC this, and they're gonna do nothing with it besides delete an email because they're super useful. Anyways,
this is why you need borders,
this is why you
apparently.
need borders. Yeah, walls
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Anyways, but the thing that okay, first off, I would like you to like you talked about what Marvel, DC, and Diamond did, but I would like your insight on what King of Comics would have done with them. And it seems like the answer is probably you would have shut down all of this
I would have been
before.
more proactive. I would have done it faster. I would have actually turned around and I would have said, okay, we're publishing 80 titles a month, and one company those 80 titles a month could be fucking 500 different covers and stuff like that.
Right,
We're not going to publish 80 titles a month. We're going to publish 20.
right,
We're going to continue our core line and we're going to save everything else up.
right,
We're going to offer full returnability. And we're also going to keep it in place where we monitor what is actually happening in the direct market, and we are not going to step on their toes in the sense that we are not going to still release all 80 titles digitally because that's coming. That is coming, and like that I do believe will happen with the big two. I really do. And that's why the direct market is at such this is a very important time for us.
So let's say that happens. How
Yeah.
harmful is that to comic shops?
Well, right. Okay. Not only that, but in the last week, Comixology have increased their free trial from 30 days to 60 days.
Right, for unlimited.
Yeah. Okay. But like, how harmful is that to comic shops? There are customers who are emailing me going, I hope you're okay. I hope, let me know if there's anything I can do. And I'm like, my customers, and I will get back to this later, have been fucking awesome. But there are customers that we have that because of this, we will never see again. Not necessarily because of Comixology, just because they're going to get out of the habit of buying comics. But customers who switch to digital will get into the habit of getting their comics digitally. That will be harmful to the direct market because the numbers on digital aren't that big.
No,
They're not big and they don't increase
no.
because reading comic books on a fucking iPad is shitty.
Right.
And I will 100%, like, I mean, I've tried, when creators send me shit and I read it on my phone or my iPad or whatever on my way to work, and I'm like, this actually is annoying. Like, I don't even like it. And I'm not saying that as a retailer. I don't even, I don't read books on Kindle. I don't do those things. But that I think is going to come, and that is going to absolutely split the direct market down the middle. Because the direct market will not forget that.
No, and they won't. And that's the thing is like the ones who okay, so I hate to say this, but I mean the ones who survive will never forget what Marvel did do and what DC didn't do. And that's where the problem lies. But I do want to say the one thing that I think that if Marvel did would be far more harmful than just going, straight digital is if they went day and date on Marvel Unlimited. That could create a real habit. If they release through Marvel Unlimited the same day and didn't try to get more squeeze as much as they possibly can still and do the 6-month release thing, if they went because the thing is from what I understand, and this is I cannot corroborate with actual numbers because digital numbers are an absolute mystery, but as much as single issue sales and trade sales have kind of plateaued to a certain degree, from what I understand, subscription services like Marvel Unlimited and Comixology Unlimited have done better. And those are not factored into those numbers. I could be wrong about that.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. The thing is that also, for some reason, and I don't know why it is, the digital numbers. So the way I work out digital numbers is probably a bit sneaky. I look at statements from comic book creators.
Oh my God.
when we have these discussions, like, so the thing about it is from what I know is I've spoken to a lot of people that work for Marvel and DC in the last 48 hours, creators. They've all been told, keep going. There has been there's been no, hey, listen, put your pencils down. There's been no order like that. Now, that could be because they want to get everything in as normal and pay their creators and stuff. I don't know, but I do think that it's more than likely that we are looking at digital releases. So if I was the king of comics, I wouldn't fucking do that. Because if I was the king of comics, I would turn around and go, what we actually have here is an industry that has been going for however many decades. I should probably know that, but however many decades, that we make a lot of money from. And Marvel and DC do make a lot of money from.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But right now, it's not that it feels like that they're not trying to keep that money coming in. It feels like that money's currently dead. Let's go find new money. That's the feeling.
Yeah. Do you think, okay, so I'm going to ask you a very pointed hypothetical question.
Sure.
Do you think in the short, mid,
I'm going to smoke while we talk, by the way. So
what's that?
Sorry, everybody on off panel, but I'm going to have a cigarette.
Oh,
that's how stressed out I am.
Oh my God. Well, as long as you're not eating. Yeah. I mowed through my food before we started recording. But anyways, so let's say short, mid, long term. Do you think that if Marvel and DC went digital next week, that would directly result in the closure of shops?
Yes. Because there are so many shops out there that they only sell Marvel and DC books, and anything else they just get for subs, or there's so many. Because like eventually when all these books, I mean, I just finished previews tonight and I was doing it going, what the fuck am I doing? I'm never going to see most of this shit for 4 months. And Diamond UK, God bless them, were like, oh yeah, don't worry, we'll get your April catalog out. And I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, we don't like. I do absolutely believe that would. Luckily, I'm not a shop that relies on Marvel and DC.
Right.
Okay. And diversification, that's been a huge focus. And I've sat down with like Marco from Comics Pro and the CBLDF and all these people about how we make this better. And the fact of the matter is that once supply chains in our industry get a bit better, I'm going to be okay. But there are so many comic book stores out there that have, Jonathan Hickman's new X-Men crossover where everyone gets a fucking sword.
Yeah.
They're going to get, they're going to order in hundreds of that. And unfortunately, there won't be hundreds of people for that because they'll have bought it on fucking Marvel Unlimited or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you think of Free Comic Book May?
I thought it was one of the worst fucking ideas I've ever heard.
As soon as I heard about it, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Where did that even
come from, though? Nobody knows the origin of this. All of a sudden, people started talking about this. I was like, because we're all desperate for news about what the fuck is happening.
Yeah,
and I'm picking the phone and going, is this official? Is this this? Is this that? And I was on the phone to Eric Stevenson, and I went, is this Free Comic Book made for real? And he's like, I don't know. Is it for real? Did you hear that? Who told you this? Nobody knew where that came from. I honestly think that was probably an idea that somebody thought was really fucking good. It got shot down, and they just let it out there to see what retailers thought. But Free Comic Book Day, we get thousands of fucking people. We can't possibly run Free Comic Book Day. And I know DC are butthurt about this because their book is time sensitive.
Yeah, Generation Zero.
Yeah, because we're going to hit Generation 5. But or 5G, which is the worst fucking name.
I love it
for anything.
I love it. Yeah, it's all really spectacular to me, but I also don't run a comic book shop. I think the whole thing, when you look at it, is just really stupid. You have Wally West rolling around on Metron's chair that's powered by Dr. Manhattan's essence or whatever, and then that's going to somehow result.
Dr. Manhattan's jizz.
His what?
Dr. Manhattan's jizz.
Oh my God. Jizz. Man, I open up to cursing and all of a sudden you become like a decrepit monster man. This is ridiculous.
So no, getting back to the actual fucking point of all of this. So I think honestly, look, I get the position certain people are in. Marvel is owned by Disney. They need to increase what they do every year. I'm sure of this. Or else Disney will turn around and go, what the fuck? DC are owned by AT&T, who probably when they bought Warner Brothers didn't even fucking know that they had a publishing company. And they're the sort of tenterhooks that we're on. And unfortunately, any sort of care package or bailout or anything was going to have to go up certain food chains. Disney have lost their tourism. Disney have lost their parks. They've lost loads of fucking money. And they're probably looking at a request from Dan Buckley going, what do you want us to do for these people? Like, shut the fuck up. Our entire TV and movie production schedule has gone out the window. And AT&T are probably AT&T. Like, what else do AT&T sell? They sell media, right? Everything is all streaming and stuff like this. They're probably like, why the fuck do we own an industry that's rooted in the 80s? This is our shot. This is our chance. And the fact that those two companies probably can't safeguard this industry, and they can't, and that's been proven as of now. Because as far as I know, the DC announcement is still coming, and everyone's just laughing about it now. Those two companies couldn't do what we as an industry needed them to do. So I think we need to maybe possibly look at future-proofing the industry without them, because we can't rely on them.
Right. But a lot of retailers do rely on them, though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
How many stores out there just sell fucking Avengers and Batman?
Empire. No? It is. So I was.
Burn bridges.
All I said was a word, man. All I said was a word. And now, a quick word from our sponsor. I want to take a quick second to give a shout out to my friends at TKO Studios. TKO is a new comics publisher doing things a little differently, with each of their titles being binge released in trade paperback and 6-issue collector's box sets at the same time. Their second wave of comics dropped recently, including one of my comics of the year in Jeff Lemire and Gabriel Hernandez Walta's Sentient, Roxane Gay and Ming Doyle's The Banks, and more, as well as gems from their first wave, like Garth Ennis and Steve Epting's remarkable war story, Sarah. Each is available now at tkopresents.com in trade, single-issue box sets, and digital release. Want to check these comics out before you order? Well, I have great news for you. If you visit tkopresents.com, you can read the first issues of each title for free right now. If you like what you read and you're a retailer, reach out directly to them at sales@tkopresents.com or go to tkopresents.com/vendors to order. TKO offers a 50% order discount as well as free shipping in the United States, a deal that's pretty hard to beat. Just a reader? That's cool too. You can order whichever comics you like directly off their site as well. Visit tkopresents.com to learn more today. And now, back to the show. I do want to say, that's one of the things that I don't think people totally get about why the stoppage in inventory was necessary. Because it's like, look at Empire. Empire comes out on was coming out on April 15th. If Empire #1 came out and then all the tie-ins started coming out and there was no comic shops to sell them, that book would tank and then would progressively tank even more. And all the shops who couldn't get inventory would be slashing their orders on FOC to a level previously unknown. I
did my Marvel order tonight. Do you want to know how I did that?
Oh, let's do it. Let's hear it.
I ordered one of everything.
Literally one copy?
Literally one.
This is initial order, though.
I'm a comic club store. So comic club tells me how many subscribers we have or how many orders we have for an item. So if we had orders of 18 copies of some Empire tie-in, I ordered 19.
Right. One for the rack.
One for the rack. And with trades, I ordered one. I just kept ordering ones. Now, I didn't do that because I want to order one copy of everything.
You're making a point.
I did that because, no, not even. I did that for the practical reason that I am going to, whenever FOC actually fucking happens for these products, whenever they actually appear, I am going to have to look at the numbers then. But I don't have time to look at the fucking numbers now because I'm too busy trying to make sure that I still have a business. And I'm trying to make sure that we still have an industry. So I did that. Now, when the initials go in, I spoke to retailers last night who said, fuck them, I'm not even sending in an initial. We're never going to get this product.
Right. Well,
and I'm like, we don't know. There's been no communication regarding that.
So that opens up a question that I think is really interesting. Okay, so Diamond's shut. Ain't nothing happening there. Yeah. Comics aren't coming.
Yeah.
But they're still taking orders?
Oh, yeah, I'm getting my April previews.
What the hell does that? That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
I know.
That is asinine.
That's why. Yeah, like the new FOC list went up today, I believe.
Yeah,
I
today's
didn't look at
FOC on what, April 8th or April? No, not
Yeah,
April
yeah,
8th. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't look at it. Why would I? I'm never going to get the product.
Yeah.
No, I mean literally, and I mean when it came to like we do a lot of stuff in store. We deal with a lot of people. We do a lot of stuff. We do like honestly, we've got like $300,000 worth of graphic novels in the store. I'm going to be okay if all of a sudden they say, okay, you're allowed to open up to the public. I have a functioning bookstore,
Hmm.
fully stocked right there. We have our new site where 95% of the inventory is up there. People can browse what we have in stock right now. Um, I'm going to be okay. My problem is that for every one of me, there's five other people that are like, I have long boxes and I have, the latest releases, and that's all I have.
Yeah.
So how do we safeguard those people who rely on those publishers? There's only one way to do that, and that didn't happen.
Right.
The main publishers did not safeguard those people. And I mean, like, I sat with Charles Bernstein from the CBLDF, and I went on a rant, and I sat with Marco, and I went on a rant in Portland because I was like, do you know what we should fucking do? Because I went to some coffee shop in Portland one morning, and the guy, he was like, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "Oh, Ireland." He's like, "Oh, wow, Ireland. Why are you here?" And I was like, "Oh, I own a comic book store." And he's like, "No way." He says, "It's great that you do something you love. I'm also doing something I love."
Mm.
Turned out he was like this like fucking Silicon Valley fucker who like made a fucking fortune and went, "I really hated what I did for a living. I made a lot of money, so I moved out here to open up a coffee shop."
No.
Now, somebody later on told me that that probably had something to do with weed, but I don't smoke weed, so I don't understand this.
Sure.
But I how so like my questions to like Marco and Charles is how do we attract those people? How do we get the Silicon Valley millionaires to come in and open up a fucking comic book store instead of a coffee shop? And even let them know that that's something that they can do. Because, as time goes on, we're going to need more of those people. Because, there's a certain proportion, and I'm not being a dickhead here, but there is like a certain proportion of our workforce where if you take the direct market that are like dying off,
Hmm.
or retiring. That would have been a better word.
Well,
Um,
so you change. I mean,
so,
the problem
so
with
how do
those
we
people.
make the industry better?
Yeah.
Here's how we make the industry better. The publishers should have protected the direct market, and they should also be, and Diamond as well, because this will be in their interest, should be instigating procedures to have retailers better educated about everything that they can do. I mean, an email from Diamond where it's like, here's the Bink Foundation. They give you like $2,000, I believe. I don't
Hmm.
know. I can't afford it.
Okay, explain that
You
really
know,
quick because people don't know what the Bean Foundation is.
sorry, I only know about it because of a fucking stupid email that I got. Like, hey, if you're a small business and you're in troubling financial times, you can apply to the Big Foundation for a loan, and like they give you like 2 grand if you fill out a load of paperwork. 2 grand is not going to keep stores open.
Right.
Like, what's that going to do? There are plenty of stores where payroll is more. So my point here is, and it is long winded, and I am so sorry, David, is that Marvel, DC, and Diamond have not been able to respond to this emergency. Diamond, I genuinely believe, haven't been able to respond to it because it's been changing so much. Marvel responded looking after themselves first, and DC just haven't responded. And what that has done is completely put the entire direct market at risk in a way that I think is probably similar to what happened with the booksellers back in the Great Depression, which is why they have returnability. So their inaction has probably brought about the one thing that we were told we would never get, which was returnability, because it's the only way that we're going to be able to survive. And it was the first thing that, and the very first person to instigate it across the board. And as far as I've been told, didn't actually ask for permission to do it, just did it, was Image. And it was Eric. And if every fucking publisher turned around and did what Image Comics did for the direct market 2, 3 weeks ago, and and has guaranteed it through now for months on end, I think that the direct market would be a far more viable looking entity to the publishers right now. Because Diamond need us, publishers need us, but if we're not there to do it because inaction has forced everyone out of business,
Right.
you know. I mean, I certainly would have looked at my Marvel numbers a bit different if I had known it was all returnable. Of course I would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have taken the piss. I may have ordered more than, my fair share of Empire, but I wouldn't have taken the piss. And that's the other thing. I mean, people assume if it's returnable, we're going to order 500 copies, sell 20, and
No.
return 480. We don't do it that way.
You don't want to order stuff that you can't sell. You guys are trying to order a reasonable amount, but also
Why would we
going a little
take
bit
rate
right,
on that?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is our shot.
Okay. So
You know?
I want to ask a few quick questions that I feel like one of the problems too is like you look at like Reddit, you look at Twitter, you look at places talking about Diamond and talking about Marvel's deep discount and talking about, the idea of returnability.
Marvel's deep discount helped one other aspect that nobody wants to talk about.
What is that? Mail order like DCBS in Midtown?
I don't have a fucking problem with
I'm not
DCBS.
I'm not saying I have a problem with DCBS in Midtown,
No.
but I mean it definitely helps them.
Of course it did. But Marvel only look at the top 10 accounts.
Right.
DC only look at the top 10 accounts.
But how did it help?
Yes, I can go. What? Bedroom sellers. There are buying clubs.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And Diamond say they are incredibly difficult to identify. Bullshit. It's fucking easy as pie. Diamond don't want to close those accounts because those accounts give them money. I completely understand that too, right? That's what, that's fine. But if you are a bedroom seller, and if you've got
okay, right, really quick, you're talking about something people don't necessarily know. What these are Diamond accounts that don't have a storefront.
Yes.
Okay,
and aren't set up for legitimate business reasons. So buying clubs would be where like me and you and our 10 friends who really like X-Men go, fuck paying Bosco's retail. Let's hang out and let's set up a Diamond account, and the minimum order threshold is this. I can't even remember what it was. Minimum order threshold is this, and the 10 of us will hit that minimum order and we'll get our comic books at cost. Now, these things do exist. They're so easy to identify.
I imagine they are.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, I know there was one recently in the UK, and that business address that when you Google mapped it was a petrol station. Like come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why did this help them though?
Pardon?
Why did this help them though?
What do you mean help?
You said that they benefited
right,
from
help
this.
them because if they. Yeah, no, yeah, totally. Because they're gonna get their deep discount, but like the bedroom sellers that just sell on eBay, and like and that. So all of a sudden, if they've got this massive deep discount, their 1 in 500 variants and 1 in 1,000 variants are much more attainable. So they're gonna up their orders to get these variants, and then what they're gonna do is they're gonna sell off all the regular covers for like dirt cheap, and that will then undervalue what comic book stores are getting in stock that they're relying on to make money to make payroll.
Yeah.
So that benefited them. No, that benefited them. Yeah.
So my thing that I wanted to address though is the fact that I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what all of this means. So just quickly address like 3 things. 1, why was the deep discount not useful to shops? 2, why was it not a bad thing that Diamond stopped accepting shipments, even though it should have been faster? And 3, I mean, well, actually, the third one was just why is DC not responding a bad thing? I think that's obvious. So Marvel, deep discount, and Diamond. Address. Go.
Okay. So Marvel's deep discount didn't actually look after retailers. They basically turned around and said, you've all committed to ordering this stuff anyway. This stuff is past FOC. We are going to deep discount this in an effort to win favor with all of you retailers. Doesn't fucking matter that you mightn't actually be able to sell it. But at the end of the day, their numbers are up. They've protected their quarter. That's what they've done. But they can turn around and they can go, sold out 100,000 copies at distributor level. That's easy, for them. So the Marvel deal protected them. What Marvel should have turned around and said, yeah, you guys are fucked. We're just going to offer returnability on everything. You only pay for what you sell.
Right.
And it was that simple.
Yeah. So Diamond. Why is it actually a good thing that they stopped? Because I think there's a lot of doom and gloom. People are saying that orders stopping is bad, but if you're getting stuff you can't sell.
Yeah, we needed the pause. The bad thing was that the entire industry read it in a press release,
right,
including publishers.
I know. After it came out.
I'm not talking about small ones either.
I know. I've heard.
Yeah. That was a fun conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So Diamond did need the pause. We needed the pause, but that pause should have been done in a way that if Diamond could have turned around and said, we're going to pause all new product, fine, right? And if they could have actually given us a real date as to when it's going to move forward and the actions that were going to take place and the measures that were going to take place. But really and truly what it felt like was we are pausing new products because we are now overwhelmed. So we got the right result, but we got it in the wrong way. And in a way that, if you ask me, was probably very done on the fly. So what they've done is a good thing. The reasons why they've done it haven't. It's because they've been overwhelmed.
I was curious if so they're based in Memphis, right?
Yeah, Olive Branch is, and then there's the Plattsburgh place, which I think is New York State.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that both those states are in shelter in place right now, and I was wondering if that affected it, but I don't know. I mean, I just know that there's a lot of
warehouses are exempt. Warehouses are exempt.
Are they? Okay.
Shelter.
Even if they're shipping comics?
Yeah.
And not toilet paper?
Yeah, they were exempt. That's how a lot of that's how I believe Midtown their mail order can continue.
Oh, okay. So I just have a few more questions, then we got to go. But one, I want to ask. Okay, if I was going to pick, I really hate the idea of even saying that there's winners out of this. But I think that there's two groups that I think have really stood out as proving their value in this situation. And I'm curious if you agree with me. One, Image, obviously. Two, Comic Hub. Because I've talked to a lot.
Yes.
I've talked to retailers who've signed up for Comic Hub because of this, because you can actually pay for your comics through Comic Hub without having to leave the store.
Yeah. My customers have been totally awesome. All of a sudden, payments started coming in. And people are adding like new things and stuff. Comic Hub, absolutely. And what Stu has done, there's a group conversation on Facebook. What are they called? They're called a Facebook
group.
Yeah. Okay. There's a Comic Hub Facebook group, and Stu is like, okay, listen, while this is going on, we are doing installs, and I would really appreciate it if anyone here, if there's any questions that the new people have. And like me, Ryan Higgins, everyone, we're like, yeah, cool. Now, Ryan does a shit ton of work on Comic Hub. I just said, yeah, even though no one's asked me anything. But like, yeah. So Stu is really trying to change the industry for the better, and Comic Hub is something that I think that after this, I think its importance will be very much recognized.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think all the hard work Stu is doing. I mean, Stu broke his back to get my online store was not ready. We've been inputting all of our stock all of the time, and of course we're in Ireland. It's a different currency. There's different laws. There's different shipping things, stuff like that. Stu broke his back to get my online store up, and he got it up. He knew how important it was. So when this is all over, there's going to be a lot more stores with Comic Hub, which is great because a lot more publishers have started to engage with it anyway before this mess. So that will give publishers a direct line to the end users, the consumers, which only benefits us.
Yeah, I mean, that for listeners that don't know, Comic Hub is a suite of retailer tools that they can use to do all kinds of things. It's a point of sale system. You can make payments online. You can it's a discoverability tool for finding new comics. I think it's awesome, even though my shop doesn't use it. But I've talked to multiple shops that have switched during this because it was that necessary. But the thing is just like retailers will not forget who didn't step up during this, people they're going to remember the ones that did. And I think
Oh,
that
Stu's legit stepped up. Well, yeah, and like we do have long memories. Um, I cannot stress this enough, right? There are some brilliant people in companies like uh, uh, Morgan from Boom. I I genuinely believe that in some facet of the industry in like 10 years, like we're all going to end up working for her somewhere. She's been awesome. But one of the things that I have to stress to all the retailers out there listening is that when I posted and asked those questions in those retailer groups, and that very real human cost became very apparent, I have passed that along to absolutely every publisher I'm in contact with. A lot of them already knew, but some didn't.
right.
But I do genuinely believe that the future, and whatever way it's going to look in like 3, 4 months, we have to rebuild. We have to. Oh, I don't, there's a lot of people out there that aren't necessarily thinking that way, but we do. We have to rebuild and we have to look at these things in a way that we have to not only reward, but if they're going to look after us, we need to look after them. And I genuinely fucking believe that companies like Image and IDW and stuff that have turned around and said, you know what, like, fuck this. We're putting everything on hold, or we're going to make everything returnable, and we're going to work with you, and we're going to help you build back up. They're the people that we need to actually work with, because they're going to be the people that are still going to be with us in 10 years.
Right.
Because right now, at this moment in time, I don't know for a fact that other companies are going to be with us in 10 years.
So when you say rebuild, do you mean rethink the way things work?
We absolutely have to. Good God, we absolutely have to. We can never let anything like this happen again to the direct market. And that is a much bigger conversation, but we need to look at, why is the book trade still going, but the comic book trade isn't?
Mm-hmm.
On April 21st, and I can't believe I'm going to give them this shout out. On April 21st, Amazon will start delivering new books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they're printed and if they're available, those books will include books from comic book publishers. And in the meantime,
Shops are closed.
Shops are closed. Diamond is closed. That can't ever happen again.
Yeah.
Ever. Because, companies like Amazon and stuff were built on the back of people like us, booksellers. At the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter if it's manga, a comic book, or Charles Dickens' last thing. It's the same thing. Charles Dickens' last thing. It's like he just released something like the other week, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We're booksellers. We're comic book sellers. It doesn't matter like what it looks like or whatever. But the direct market right now, we can never let this happen again. There has to be a conversation going forward about, okay, we survived coronavirus 2020, what are we going to do? And there needs to be things brought in. And that conversation has got to include all the publishers, and it's got to include, Diamond, and it's got to include, we should be looking at outside sources like Penguin Random House.
Mm-hmm.
We should be looking at HarperCollins.
Simon
we should
Schuster.
be looking at Scholastic, Simon Schuster. We should be looking at all of those things. We should be looking at a way that we can try and make this not ever happen again, because coronavirus was the straw. It really was. It broke the direct market's back. We are all, Dave, I got to tell you the God's honest truth, I had the shittiest day of my life today.
Yeah.
I turn around to my guys and I don't know if they'll be pissed off with me saying this or whatever, but all of us were laid off today. I haven't gotten paid for work now. This will be like the second week, and going forward, I'm not getting paid. All of us were laid off, and that broke my fucking heart, because literally what's going to happen is Bruno's going to work remotely, and I'm going to fulfill the mail orders and stuff like that. In the meantime, I got a phone call from a customer's sister to say, can you cancel the standing order because he died?
Oh. Because of the coronavirus? Or just
I
period?
don't know.
You don't ask those
I
things,
don't.
but either way. But yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Jesus.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but like at this moment in time, you're like, oh, holy shit. And then, like, in the meantime, I've got, I've got retailers literally on Facebook going, is there any word from DC yet? Are they going to help us out? You know, um, it's a shitty situation, and I know the coronavirus has like halted industry, and like I said, it's a once in a century event. But we can never allow this happen again,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Because if we do, we won't survive the next time. I do genuinely believe the direct market will survive, but right now, at this moment in time, like publishing is dead, printing is dead, retail is almost dead.
Yeah. Well, okay.
But we are the cockroaches of the world, so we
I've
will.
seen that line recently.
Oh, Hibbs! I stole it from him.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I've
He's
really
been
been enjoying Hibbs the last
yeah.
while.
He's been I've been paying a lot of it. I'm not. I don't use it in a Rich Johnson sort of way where I just roll out his like Facebook posts as content. But I've been paying
Yeah.
attention to what Brian says. I mean, I made an order from Comics Experience. I mean, like I want to do what I can to help shops. So there's two more questions I want to ask. One of them is related to that.
Okay.
There are comic fans, and not.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, with unemployment rate looking like it could, escalate to 30%, and with all kinds of other things being affected, there's only so much money to go around. But if readers want to help, if fans want to help, what can we do to help comic shops?
Buy inventory.
Just
Literally,
reach out.
Reach out. Just buy inventory. Don't be like, I mean, I had to explain to a lot of people today that comic books weren't coming in for the next while, right? Which is fine because they're not, reading the sites and stuff like that. But if there is a comic book or a graphic novel or an action figure or a statue that you've had your eye on in your comic book store for the last while, now is the time. Because right now, and I hate this phrase, like every little helps, but every little helps. I mean, I got to be honest, and I feel really bad about this guy, and I'm going to give him a shout out. His name is Ashley. He was the first email I got in today, and it was so good that I was like, no, I need to save that email because I want to write him a proper reply. And then later on in the afternoon, he's like, hey, did you get my email? And I was like, I did. I'm just incredibly busy dealing with all this other stuff, but I will reply to you. And then I emailed him in the evening and I said, I will reply to you tomorrow. That guy offered to give me his comic book collection to sell.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, honestly, like, I think that's one of the cool things, because I know you guys had people paying through Comic Hub and you had people doing what they can to help. And it's been really awesome to see that kind of thing happen, because like that's the type of
very rewarding in terms of like a humanity aspect. I'll tell you that much,
Yeah. If only they ran Marvel and DC and Diamond, then we'd be in good shape.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing happened here. A friend of mine, he runs a bar. He runs the best dive bar in Dublin, right?
That is saying something.
Oh, I encourage absolutely everybody to go follow the Thomas House on social media.
Is that the one we went to?
Did I bring you to the TH?
Is that the one you can walk to over by you guys?
No.
Okay.
No. That's it. That's actually a bar that probably kind of copied what these guys do. But they got shut down. They set up a GoFundMe like to keep going. Because they've got staff and they've got this and they've got whatever. But I encourage everyone to check out Thomas House's social media, because literally it will make sense to nobody, because Gar Cummins is mental. That's all I can say. But like, he's in the same boat. He reached out to me today. He's like, oh, you got shut down too. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you want to start a podcast? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Like, what else are we going to do?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the one thing is, in terms of like a humanity factor, like, all the regulars at Thomas House, they pitched in for like a GoFundMe. All my regulars are like buying stock.
Yeah.
And every day I go in, like, it's fucking amazing. It really fucking is, because we do have the best customers.
Well, just an FYI. So, listeners, the day this goes up, we will be starting another art giveaway. First 2 days was Daniel Warren Johnson with challengers. To Wednesday we're doing an art giveaway with Declan Shalvey, and anybody who orders $20 worth of inventory through Big Bang during that day will be immediately entered to win that, and also a year free of Sketched, if you even care to have that on top of the art. So anyways, so if you order $20 worth of inventory from John and make him work so he can't podcast and get in my territory, then you will be entered to win awesome art from Declan and a year free of Sketched. So,
Oh my God, how many $20 transactions can Michael Perlman do in one day? I wonder.
bring it on, Michael. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last thing, this is tough. I mean, obviously you don't have all the answers, even though you are not the king of comics, but you know a lot, and you're trying to do what you can. If there's something you could tell your fellow retailers, something you could say to do what you can to get through this, what would you say?
Ah, God, I don't want to come out and say something completely, you know, contrite, but honestly, um, we, you're not saying once bitten, twice shy. This is like for for a long time, a lot of people have been talking about one day I'm going to send in an initial order, and it's just going to be zero for certain publishers.
Oh my God.
And
I like where your
yeah,
head's
no,
at.
yeah, to send a message. Now, I was always like, that's never going to happen, you know? But I do think going forward, when we survive this, um, yeah, I honestly believe we should just do that, to send a message and just let them know that we, our bite really is worse than our bark.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people, and trust me, there's a lot of people working behind the scenes. Like I said to you, I have never worked harder when I have not been in work, because I've been on the phone constantly to publishers all around the world. Big shout out as well to the guys at Rebellion here in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they had just finished their finishing touches to, basically, they're going to make a huge. They were going to try and make a huge gain in the US market, and this has been like 18 months worth of planning, and it's gone to shit. But every day, people from Rebellion have actually texted me and just said, "Hey, how's it going? Hope you're okay. Is there anything we can do for you?" You know. So when we get through this, I genuinely believe that we should send a message to say that our bite is worse than its bark.
Do you
And
mean to Marvel and DC?
I didn't say that.
I mean, I'm just gonna say those words, and everyone does what they want with it.
Yeah, and I genuinely believe as well that we need to support the people that supported us. And to be quite honest, I very much look forward to ordering Image Comics' new superhero line in 2021. That they should absolutely do.
They can get America Vasquez to be the lead star of it.
Like, I got a question.
Sure.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What would you have done?
What would I have done with all of this?
Yeah.
Okay, first off, I don't know it nearly as well as anybody else, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have done damn near any of what did happen. I mean, the thing is like, it seemed abundantly clear really fast that the number one answer. I mean, I wrote about it in you definitely didn't read it because you've been busy, but I wrote a big thing on comics and the coronavirus, and I said within there, before Image even rolled out the returnability thing, and I added it in the morning of, because that was when it came out, that returnability was the answer. I mean, it is the answer. Yeah, if you, I mean, I've always advocated for that, but even more so now, because the thing is like, if there's always an inordinate amount of weight on retailers to take the risk, and if in this situation the risk is disproportionately high on your side, if you can't be open and you're buying inventory, then you can't sell it. And so you're taking the cost, but you're not getting any of the benefits. And that's how you kill shops. So returnability was
diamond.
What's that?
My diamond bill this week was like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, here's your invoice. I'm like, great, let's go. Ready to go. Yeah. And like, it's like, oh yeah, we're not sending it to you. And I'm like, okay, do I still have to pay that thing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume no. That's a conversation for next week. But like 10 grand, 10 grand when 10 grand is a lot of money when you're not selling the product.
Right.
You know, all of us have like families and mortgages and stuff and rents and things like that. And so far the government here do seem to be doing a good job, in my opinion, about this, which I never thought I'd say.
That must be
But
nice.
I heard that about you guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on
But
federal
yeah,
level, not great. State level, we're doing pretty good. But okay,
yeah,
wait.
I thought you got paid to live in Alaska. But no, getting back to the point, right? Returnability is the key because if I knew that I was taking in that 10 grand and I was going to sell 5 grand worth of it and I could get credited on 5 grand of it, I feel a whole lot better sitting on my sofa talking to you right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other things
Yeah.
I would have done is, as soon as sheltering in place started, I would have been looking to close the flow. And then the other thing, I mean, more than anything, I think the most frustrating part about this is don't leave people hanging. Communicate, transparency. Do what you can to let people know that you're paying attention, that you're listening. And that
I
what?
cannot. Yeah, I knew about the diamond closure before some of my peers. I was like, I need to get this confirmed. And the way it was confirmed was by a fucking comic book website.
Not even mine.
So
Bullshit.
no, so many people and so many publishers found out by reading that press release,
Yeah.
which is nonsense.
I mean, it's funny. I don't know if you saw it. Comic-Con, John Jackson Miller thought, because apparently normally like the orders would have come out that morning, like, or the release list, and it didn't come out. And that was when he thought something was coming. But I mean, the thing is like transparency wouldn't have solved the problems, but it would have made, because like the thing is like, it's all unknown right now. And there's
everything's mental.
Yeah, and everybody, like, the thing that people want more than anything is to know that it's all going to be okay. And if at least you're communicating with them, they have a sense that something's going to happen. I mean, like, even look at the DC thing. It's like people still feel like DC might say something. They are probably
They actually do.
And they're never going to say anything.
There's no point.
Yeah.
There's no point if they say it. What are they going to say?
Well, they can't even ship comics if they wanted to.
No, I mean, like, I've been told off the record that, like, basically Jim Lee, like, spent a whole fucking week trying to protect us.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome. And if anybody out there has been lucky enough to hang out with him and meet him, you would totally believe that.
Right.
Because that's the sort of guy he is.
Jim Lee,
right?
come on the podcast. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, yeah.
You're not busy.
Oh, yeah.
You're not busy.
No, I fucking did I agreed to ask him on the podcast, didn't I?
You did, and then
I don't know.
You got busy. You got busy. It's cool.
Yeah, but he tried. Lots of people are trying. We're all trying. The fact of the matter is as a fucking group right now, retailers, we mightn't feel like it, but we actually are stronger together than alone. And there's only one way that we're gonna actually do this. And like I said to you, Diamond need us as much as we need them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing people forget. Marvel and DC I think, as you've noted, are probably going to try to prove that they don't need you guys. But Diamond does not exist without shops. And
oh yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's what made their slow response astonishing to me, because they are nothing without you.
Yeah, but in fairness, you guys, so like, and honestly, there are people probably going to listen to this laughing right now, go, wait, is he going to defend Diamond? Because all the
I support Diamond way more than other people do. I just want to say that.
Yeah. No, in fairness, they had to deal with there's 52 states. 52 is 50. There 52?
50.
50. What's the 50? I don't know.
Hawaii.
So there's 50 states. Oh, okay. So there's 50 states with 50 different laws. They settle in Canada and Europe and all these sort of things, and they're taking in all this information. And they're taking in all of this information and trying to figure out, like, our response. And everything changed every day. I completely get that. Do you know what the shitty thing about Diamond and lack of communication was? It wasn't just shitty communication between Diamond and retailers. And I will say Diamond UK have been fucking brilliant compared to Diamond US. And all you people that don't get serviced by Diamond UK, I do feel really bad for you because they are much, much better in my opinion. But um, the publishers, there was no communication between Diamond and the publishers. The publishers found out when fucking Joe Public found out, which is when retailers found out.
Right.
That's the way it was going.
Well, not
Diamond,
all of them. Not all of them.
Communication. What?
Not all of them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Some found out before.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. Good man. But yeah, no, I mean, that communication was insane. So getting back to the original question, what would be my advice to retailers? We've just got to persevere because at the end of this, this is going to be over eventually, and none of us know how to do anything else.
Right.
All we know how to do is this. And I don't know what sort of protections there are for like businesses and people and stuff, state by state and everything like that. But this is eventually going to go away and we have to be there to rebuild it. But when we rebuild it, we have to protect ourselves much better. And there are publishers who will work with us on this, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point to end it. I'm just going to throw this out there. If anyone wants a platform to write about this, talk about this, whatever, my door is open. My email is available. It's all on the internets. But John, that is all I have for you. I'm sorry you've had a really tough day. I hope for all of us that the days get better going forward. But I appreciate you taking the time. And anytime you need anything, let me know.
When I'm going to end it on this. I've been thinking about this conversation all day that I was going to have and how I would phrase it. And I was talking to a very dear friend of both of us today, and he was like, "What are you going to say?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to burn my bridges." And he was like, "What do you have to lose?" And I said, "Yeah, I suppose. What do I have to lose?" So I'm going to end it on this. As shit as it is that Marvel and DC have responded in this way, I am thoroughly disappointed and saddened by that. But what gives me absolute hope is the fact that when we rebuild this, it's going to be a whole different direct market. And I am looking forward to like working with the publishers that desperately do want to work with us. And things are going to be cool. It's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be a bad idea. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea. In fact, actually, there's someone else I need to follow up with actually later.
But, I'm sorry I laughed about that.
Yeah. I have no idea what's happening. I was one of the stores that was picked for that. I have no idea what's happening with that currently. Yeah, I mean, if we get like, there's only so many times we can get fucked over. Like the industry needs to wake up. There's no white knight coming to save us. We can only save ourselves here, and that will require us working with Image, Dynamite, Boom, working with Scholastic, Random House, all those people. Which is scary because not retailers don't like change, but like we're in a changing world. I mean, for all I know, you've got coronavirus and have now transmitted it to me over Skype.
I'm really glad that you're ending with accusations of me having coronavirus. Thank you. I actually went to a COVID clinic and they assured me that I do not have it. So that bridge
cost you like $75,000 because you're American.
I also went to the post office yesterday for an hour. And so that very well could have been a delivery. I had to mail my sketchbooks, man. It took forever. It turns out that mailing internationally is very slow. But anyways.
I thought we were doing that for you.
No, well, I was mailing the non-Ireland books, and then I'm sending those other ones. I didn't send you guys yet. I have to go back and do a big package for you guys because I didn't have a box big enough. So I have to get that. Then I'm sending it out. But anyways, if I got it, it was from the post office.
For self-distribution, everybody.
I know. I'm starting my own distribution company. It's very minor. It involves shipping to varying parts of Ireland and one person in Sweden. So coming your way, Diamond. Anyways, John, thank you for coming on.
David, I just want to say thank you for everything that you do.
Oh, whatever. I'll talk to you later.
No, you will.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Off Panel with Big Bang Comics' John Hendrick. You can find Big Bang Comics on Twitter at @thebigbang_ and on their website at bigbangcomics.ie, which you can use to order comics from Big Bang via Comic Hub. As a heads up, Off Panel is once again brought to you by Sketch.com. Check out the new version of the site and consider subscribing for access to all the site's content and its members-only forum. If you're a fan of Off Panel, make sure to check it out on Patreon. If you back the show in there, you not only support it, but you get early access to each week's podcast, access to weekly content, and more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Off Panel on iTunes or Spotify and give the show a rating or review while you're at it. You can find Off Panel and Sketched on social media by liking it on Facebook at /Sketched, that's SKTCHD, follow on Twitter at @SketchComic, or following me at @SliceFriedGold. Stephen Hall, Dan Lee, Cameron Schrader, Pensacola Pop Comics, Kim Eslin, Philip Merrick, Christian Shelton, Kenny Porter, Chris Pachalo, Thorin Grunbeck, Fuzz Bubbles, Christopher Todd, Transmitter Down, Harry Sayer, Waltz Comics and Books, Carl Mazel, Danny Ollie, Paul Slates, Litwin Studios, Akil Wilson, Nathan House, Alex Dimitriopoulos, Terry Dodson, Troy Jeffrey Allen, Leona Kingus, Keegan Ray, Milton Lawson, Wesley Gift, Sean Kirkham, Harry Small, Alistair Ross, Julio Anta, Brett A. Schmidt, Jason Goodmanson, Paul Ryanwan, Connor Farner, Vita Yala, Aditya Bidikar, Tara Ferguson, Dave Slusher, WMQ Comics, Akil, Kokachi, Phil White, Sean Pinello, Ken Heidelman, Philip Seedy, Al Ewing, Ryan Alcock, Nick Michelin, David Kelly, Rob Wilson IV, Nick Polito, Owen McCready, Brendan Fletcher, Gary Maloney, Jonathan Nilsson, Matthew Groom, Jason Massey, Adam Bogert, Xavier Files, Matthew Taylor, Tyler Turner, Nick Patera, Jacob Sorelli, Ford Gilmore, David Brody, Ira James Udaskin, Modern Magic Stories, Nick Hall, Bjorn Basin, John Hendrick, Steve Anderson, Ian Maxfield, Cliff Chang, Benjamin Shipper, Colin McMahon, Chris Palmer, Scott McGovern, Nathan Fairbairn, Kat McKenzie, Greg Rucka, Adam Highfield, Fiona Staples, Carissa Hallrent, Mark Abnett, Mike Murphy, Michael Shirley, Tom Barnett, Jim Demonakos, Norbert Nicolo, James Kaplan, and Mission Comics and Art in San Francisco. You guys are all the best. A quick thanks to Upright T-Rex Music, who wrote and performed Off Panel's theme song just for the show. Check out their music on Spotify because it's completely delightful. Thanks for listening, and tune in tomorrow for another episode.